Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, Saul Canelo Alvarez loses a decision, a unanimous decision to DMITRY BIVOL. That's the most surprising thing of all. All three judges had it 115, 113, which, you know, you can't really argue when all three get it right. I mean, or all three get it in unison. I had it 116, 112. And a few guys who, I mean, I was watching some live stream, a few of the other guys had it 117, 111, but there's no doubt that Bivol won this fight, clearly. And I think 115, 113 was a bit close, but yeah, there are weight divisions in boxing for a reason. Bivol had the physical prowess to handle Canelo's pressure and to handle the weight of Canelo's punches and the mental pressure that you know, educated stalking puts on an opponent. I was really impressed with Bivol. I didn't think he was this good. I said in my preview video that I thought he would suffer because he's a bit traditional, or a bit what's the word I'm looking for? A bit conventional in his style. He's very, very textbook. But actually, that was enough. That was more than enough. I got that wrong. You know, he didn't do anything out of the ordinary because he never does. He just boxed very, very well within himself, very contained, concentrated for every second of every round. Where he surprised me a little bit is that he threw an awful lot of punches. I thought Canelo, because I have my great suspicions about how Canelo makes weight and puts it on and maintains his stamina, if you know what I mean. I thought Canelo might be physically the stronger fighter, physically stronger. And at one point he did pick Bivol up and on his shoulder and swing him around. But actually, Bivol, you know, was kind of almost bullying Canelo at times. And he was firing a lot of combinations, little spurts of combinations, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punches. And then he'd go back to being very contained and sort of, you know, I think as the fight wore on, Bivol was standing more in range with Canelo. To start with, he was a little bit reticent. Not that he was not being proactive and firing some good offensive, doing some good offensive work. He was firing punches, but he was a little bit cautious when Canelo was fresh. And as the rounds went on, Canelo visibly looked like he was huffing and puffing. It's almost like there was a sort of mental pressure on him all of a sudden, because this guy, you know, who nobody fancied to beat him, or certainly not to win a decision, somehow was putting pressure on him, was whacking him. And Canelo had a slight swelling under his left eye, and his face was red, and his forehead had red marks on it. I mean, he wasn't getting beaten up, but he was being made to work very, very hard from the off. And Bivol was holding his own, both in terms of physical strength and you know, fistic pressure, I suppose you'd call it. You know, the offense that he had was very, very effective. I think that Bivol, I did worry a little bit in the last 3 or 4 rounds whether Bivol was going to take his foot off the gas a bit and leave that little gap in the door so the judges could walk through it and give Canelo the decision. But he did just enough in those last 3 rounds. Maybe he didn't rubber stamp the win, because like I say, 115, 113 on all 3 judges' cards sounds a bit narrow to me. I had 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4. And I haven't watched it a second time, but I watched it live and I scored it live. If I watched it again, I don't imagine the cards would be very different. There's no doubt who won, and that was Bivol. And Canelo, for the first time since probably the Mayweather fight, looked kind of, maybe not frustrated, but certainly flustered in certain rounds, as if to say, you know, things not going my way, what do I do? After 8 rounds, Eddie Reynoso said to him, you know, you need to go work now. Or he was sort of subtly hinting, you know, you've got some work to do here. And he was right, and I think Canelo knew anyway. Bivol, he still don't look like the biggest light heavyweight to me. He still looks like a guy who's sort of between super middle and light heavy. But I think Canelo is maxed out at 168 now. There's a rematch clause, excuse me, and they're talking of doing it all again, yeah, no problem. But it was a good, absorbing fight, an intriguing fight. Not a barn burner, but by no means dull in any way. And it was a very, very accomplished textbook performance by DMITRY BIVOL against a man who's naturally smaller, very talented, smaller man, but a smaller man nonetheless. And I just thought that, it was nice to see Bivol get the decision. Another robbery this year, especially after things like, Taylor and Catterall, that farce, and a few other decisions. I mean, we didn't need another robbery or should we say another questionable or controversial decision. In my preview video, I picked Canelo to win on points uncontroversially. I thought over the last 4 rounds, he'd take over. And he did. He didn't take over, but he did do probably some of his better work. Was it round 11? I think it was quite a close one, but I think I gave that to Canelo. But he just couldn't put his foot on the gas like he normally does. He couldn't impose himself in the way he normally does. And Bivol controlled the range very, very well. Canelo is very good at controlling the range, but on this occasion, it wasn't like the Kovalev fight where Canelo was creeping forwards, and then went through the gears late and knocked out Kovalev. Nothing wrong with Bivol's chin either. And certainly nothing wrong with Canelo's chin, because Canelo did take some flush punches, but we knew he had a great chin anyway. Bivol's has been tested, admittedly by a smaller man, but a very powerful smaller man, and there's nothing wrong with it. So a rematch between these two is probable. Personally, I'd like to see GGG and Canelo get it on a third time back at super middleweight, but more importantly, Bivol and Beterbiev get it on. To unify the division, but I don't know. They'll probably have this rematch, won't they? Anyway, yeah, good fight. Did you see it? I suppose you did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. What did you think? What did you score it? Leave your comments, as usual, in the comments section. Thanks for watching, as always. I always appreciate your time. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Like the video, dislike the video, share the video, whatever. It's all good to me. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, not bad at all. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your Sunday. I'm off to bed now. What is it now? Probably about 6 o'clock now, I think. Jesus Christ. I'll meet myself going to bed. I'll meet myself getting up. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.